Hit below the belt. Short story by Maqsood Hasni, translated by Najam. Free Abuzar, barqi, kutab'khana, February 2019. It was quite unbelievable for me that the butcher offered the bone having some meat to the lean dog, who was watching the flesh greedily. Otherwise, most of the meat vendor preserved the nasty and unsaleable meat the arrival of the customers. They deceived the customer by adding these parts to the fresh one and, in this way, get benefit of futile meat parts. Likewise, they mix the skinny parts into the minced meat and deprive the dogs of the thing they deserve. I felt that he was an honest butcher, and it was an order matter that many dogs started at the bone, and due to their howling many others got assembled with immentionable wrath. However, this lean dog had challenged the others that he had the temerity to fight against all, as he enjoyed the right to avail himself of the opportunity. He was of the view that this bone was his share. The other dogs were yelping, but the lean dog was staunch to keep it. It is quite impossible to snatch something from one's jaw without a clash, and especially when the possessor is also more dreadful. That is why, despite being more furious, none of the rival had the temerity to assail at him, but they evolved the policy to go on by treats. But he was never frightened by their bluffs. He seemed to be aggressive because, on the one hand, he was becoming a sign of danger for peace, and, on the other hand, going against the rules of war which asked to subdue before powerful might. It looked like that he was not aware of the dog's living. I got angry on the honesty of that butcher who had created uproar among dogs by proving himself honest in this prevalent matter-ridden period of life. Otherwise, they were bosom before his act of honesty, and no one was snubbing each other. The fact was that the butcher was wrong in his approach, and he was not responsible to fulfill the demands of their bellies. There was a big throng of people at the shop, and, in fact, this act of his was amounting to getting man-starved. His act of owning the bone was an open conspiracy against human hunger because he could sell it after dividing it into pieces. However, he had devised to condense his earning that also caused for a law and order situation. The customers got bewildered by the dogs, and they forced the butcher for making them free at the earliest. A bloody and dreadful came ahead to make an end of this futile war. He seemed to be the head of dogs, and he had to maintain his leadership by winning this war. The other dogs mustered courage and started barking more loudly than before. In fact, they were encouraging their leader and also reproaching the lean dog. According, this bone belonged to their leader because he was powerful. But some opined that everyone deserved the share and their leader ought to divide it equally. But no one dashed the conspiracy sparked by the butcher just to create a tussle amongst the dogs. They looked at his disciples, who considered their leader to be democratic-minded one, and were quite ready to attack. The lean dog moved behind a little bit when the leader attacked at him forcefully, and he felt that lean dog had the courage to resist, but he could not face them for a long time. Seeing their leader, the other stooges also attacked, but the lean dog was trying to protect the bone, and there was great collusion among them for some minutes, and the lean dog got injured and tired and was deprived of the bone. Now their leader had the bone and was eating it quite separately. The dogs considered it to be the right of their leader, kept silent, but others were not happy due to the undemocratic attitude of their leader. The dog who had given them the guarantee to save their rights was now quite indifferent to them. They were in great fume but were forced to keep silent because they could not challenge the powerful dog. They all were standing there helplessly. Owing to the queer activities of dogs, people got frightened, thinking lest the dogs should also bite them. Perhaps the butcher had deliberately done so to create hurly-burly. The lean and injured dog was watching the butcher helplessly, and there was a pride in the smile of the butcher because he had the profit of the stable bones.